Is Gary Gygax to blame for the party system? No. But the connection is a bit more realistic than you might think. Let's take a look at it. Hello and welcome to Dynamic Entry. It is me, the professional henchman as always, and today I wanted to do a bit of an exploration on the party system. You know, parties, like people jumping in with you on your adventure, facing the hardships and the challenges along the road with you, and growing along the way. That's right. So where did it start? Where is the origin? It's a bit contentious, but I did manage to find some information on that very point. From what I could tell, the party system originally came into its inception in 1975 with the premiere of P-Edit 5, or Dungeon, with an exclamation point at the end. It was an old computer game taking place in a randomly generated dungeon where you controlled both a player character and a few other choice party characters. Not a lot of vast detail in the specifics of this, but this system was taken from the creator's time spent playing Dungeons & Dragons, which released a few months prior to this. So that's why I mentioned Gary Gygax. The thing is though, this is a very important and pivotal moment when it comes to gaming. By this point, gaming isn't really like this massive thing on the digital scale. It's a lot of tabletop. You're playing interactively with other folks, or in the case of Dungeons & Dragons, you're receiving narration and instruction from a third-party DM, in this case, right? Pretty cool. However, video games would take this one singular mechanic and spin the whole thing on its head as time went on. Later, as more and more video games began to come out, things like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy, the party system would eventually begin to spread out a bit more, digging deeper into its fantasy-style roots by isolating specific skills and abilities by the type of character that is in your party, being classes, or even making specific dialogue, choices, and actions accessible only with these party members. Something that's not really seen in the older days, but something more seen now with stuff like Mass Effect and things of the like. Really, I'm not sure that the party system itself could have worked without the inspiration from Dungeons & Dragons, and more drastically, without the want of devs to expand their stories and to give the players a bit of a foil. In some cases, the party system is great because it gives you a comrade or somebody that you can confide in on the journey itself. Whether this come in the form of a confidant like Mimir, who helps to expand on the world and the lore around you, or in the case of someone like Atreus or Ellie, even from The Last of Us, these second or tertiary characters who assist you in and outside of combat as well as expanding on the rest of the world. In other cases, this can be driven to a much more in-tuned or integrated system. In this particular case, things like Final Fantasy 15 come to mind with the boys, the homies that you meet with in the actual game. These guys are actively commentating on the situation around you. Their specific skills and class set is made and tailored around Noctis to kind of help him out, and they are their own individualized personalities. Sometimes this can stay kind of surface level. In a lot of cases with the party system, you will see certain characters who are just all tropes. You know, the edgy rogue character with the knives and the murdered family, or the clerical paladin style character who's really rigid but believes in truth and justice. I don't necessarily think these things are wrong per se, though I prefer it when these characters have their own ideals, agendas, and motivations. One party member I'd like to mention in particular would happen to be Mordin Solus, one of the party members you meet in Mass Effect 2. Mordin is a dynamic and incredible character. Mordin is a really unique and intelligent character with a lot of quirks, but you always know something's going on in the background, and the reveal that he is one of the main people that not only created the Genophage, but also continues to believe that it is a necessary part of the universe in Mass Effect, is wild. It creates a situation where the guy standing next to me and defending me is no better than half the villains that we're chasing in the galaxy. Ah, man, it doesn't get better than that. I don't think that every game necessarily has to have like a huge 5,000 page script or story behind their party system, the motivations of their characters and what have you, but you do have to have a little bit of something to keep the fans invested for more. The party system has also created other things that I'm not particularly fond of. One that I'd have to say is escorts. I can't stand them. I don't like escorting people in missions. I don't like protecting things in missions. It's not because I don't care or I'm not patient. It's just the added pressure of that like protection mode that has to be engaged there. It's the worst. And a lot of times game developers will poke fun at these by making the people you're defending just completely terrible. One such instance is Paul Revere in Assassin's Creed 3. A temporary companion that assists you in alerting the rest of the... Where the hell are you? New England? I don't fucking care. Anyway, you go on to alert folks that the redcoats are coming, as one does with Paul Revere, but the whole time Paul Revere is bitching and complaining, he's pulling you back, he's yelling at you.
They must be scouts.
Go right, Connor! To the left, Connor!
It makes the entire situation insufferable because it's just like this guy who's like a thorn in your side that just keeps grating and brings the worst out in everything. It's interesting how the party system has continued to evolve over time with both its implications as well as its insertion into games. My meaning specifically is when the party system was first introduced, it was just controlling and picking skills for alternative characters with different skill sets that were in the party, so to speak. Your rogues, your paladins, your clerics, your priests, what have you. But as time went on and development became more and more fine-tuned over the years, it gave us a lot more freedom. In a lot of cases, you have the ability to fully pick skill sets and redo things. I mean, even Baldur's Gate gives you the opportunity to take any of your party members, the main cast and the like Illithid powered cast in the background, and completely rewrite the book. You can't change how they physically look really, but I mean, changing their classes and everything else is a wild level of customization. And that type of play is just so great because to me, it allows you to explore more avenues, combinations, attack patterns, and all kinds of stuff, while also not pressuring you to always replay a game. I'm gonna be honest with you, I do love playing video games, but I don't always want to sit down and play a 70-hour game again and again and again. So the advent of things like additional party members makes it so that I can continue to test ideas and things I like a bit more openly as a playthrough goes on, instead of just being confined to the one player character. I like that a lot too. I guess if I had to say any one thing, right, it's that I understand not every game needs a party. Some experiences are a solo experience or a story is being told specifically from the lens of one character. But I think that the opportunity to add individuals that both sympathize with the player character but also work against the player character in some ways, or to force them to think different from their own internal thing, I think that's great. And that's just not something that you'd have without the addition of additional player characters, the party members. They bring so much more than just being additional meat shields and stat blocks. There's a ton of depth that they have, and it's really cool that something like that spun out of somebody playing D&D and just being like, you know what? I want that. I want the whole squad with me. I don't want to be by myself saving the world. That's a lonely lot. So I think that's kind of cool. So that was the video for today. Thanks for sticking around and hearing me pick through my brain and seeing what those thoughts are like. They're a little scattered, but I hope it opens the conversation and you guys feel willing to share with me who are your favorite or least favorite party members in video games. Are there people that you can't stand? Do you hate the party system? Do you wish that you were only solo in these games? I don't know, but I'd love to if you'd love to share it with me down below. You can also like and share the video, and you could send it to somebody to start the conversation with them. Or maybe, check the backlog and see all the other stuff we've made, because we got a ton. But most of all, I just want to say thanks. As always, I love making stuff like this because it's just really to get conversations going and start talking with folks. So I hope that's what this does. And I'll see you next time. Peace.